Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the desperation of the media. We've been covering the media and the kind of the implosion of mainstream media, especially in the nerd space for the last couple of years now. And we're going to see some craziness, I think, this year. This is the year that it's going to be do or die, I think, for a lot of publications. And you can kind of tell which ones are on the chopping block depending on, the kind of content that they're cranking out to try to get people to click. Yep. And we're going to click on the Mary Sue so you don't have to.
Yeah, the other day, though, it would, after a while, it was like, oh, you have to subscribe or something. It would have like the ad blocker, boxes came up on it. And I was like, oh, they're getting desperate.
Well, that's where we're going to go with it. We're going to go, we're going to talk about the content. You're seeing them try to, basically whack the beehive and reignite, Gamergate and reignite the Last Jedi backlash and all that stuff. They're
trying to bring the Last Jedi stuff all around. They talk, she insults Luke Skywalker and everything in this.
Nobody cares.
That's a desperate attempt to try to trigger you guys so you come after her so she can be like, look at all the views I'm getting.
Yeah, because the pay rates are not good for these sites.
Blogs are terrible now.
Blogs are terrible. The ad revenue's not there. And I'm sure if I scroll down here, we'll probably trigger some kind of thing. But I mean, we were just out to an AP article, and they're begging for money now. You're supposed to donate to the Associated Press, apparently because their government funding got cut. But this is how desperate they are. And most of the sites, and we'll talk about this, most of the sites you go to now, these sites that were free for years, all of a sudden, paywall, subscribe to our newsletter.
Did you read this? Support independent journalism. As a not-for-profit news organizations, the AP has remained free from corporate and political influence for nearly 2 centuries. Bullshit. Except they're extremely politicized in a certain direction, which is... I sent another video, I'll mention it again in this one. One of the papers I subscribed to, I literally unsubscribed to because all they did was run far left AP articles.
Yeah.
Don't give me corporate and political influence. You are full of crap. You were taking money from the government, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about it because it's all connected. It's basically we're watching these news outlets that were propped up with venture capital implode in real time. And this is the year that I think we're going to see a lot of them get gone for various reasons. Lack of interest from readers, obviously. Everything being paywalled. Google AI eating their lunch, the AI snippets.
Yeah. Well, everybody's paywalling now because they're not making money on the regular channels.
Yeah. Yep. Here, if you want to read from Bloomberg, if you want to read about Snow White, everybody else is giving it to you for free, but you got to pay them at least $1.99 a month.
Yeah, a bunch of other people, other places are doing that too now.
Everybody's doing it. So let's talk about this. This is end stage mainstream media. It's very, very weird to watch, and it's hitting these pop culture sites, I think, harder than a lot of other verticals because they were never really sustainable. And, we talked about Valnet. We'll bring Valnet up again, too. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, we'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
If you'd like to support us, we're not making you support us, but if you'd like to support us, clownfishminus.com, you can do that. We're not forcing you to pay for our videos, though. Not yet. We're not there yet. Some people like to do there,
I don't want to get there. So, yeah, I saw this article because, I look at the Mary Sue once in a while to see what they're screaming about now. And Rachel Leishman's just the gift that always keeps on giving because she just really desperate for attention. Like she is like the ultimate pick-me girl. And she just like cannot stand it if people aren't giving her attention. So she goes out and finds something to run with that's really, really stupid just to be like, so she can insult the people that she's claiming she hates so that they will give her views. So don't go click on her video or article, because, don't give her views.
But nobody's clicking on their videos. They had a YouTube channel. They had this like really posh. I remember they had this really posh set and everything, and like nobody watched their videos. So
now she's going out there to get attention, and she's doing. And this is like I am going to go through this real quick, but along with what we're talking about because it just proves what I'm talking about. She's going on about the toxic dude bros and invokes the Star Wars theory. guy
Again.
because she can't stand it. And I guess he made this comment and she's really pissed about it. And it's hilarious because what he said was just because a fortified franchise, 40 plus years old, has all the characters and lore destroyed, bastardized, diluted, and turned political, erasing any of the formal magic and themes that made it special, you can't have an opinion. Never let anyone silence your voice. And she's mad about that. But what she pulls out from this is a political thing. She doesn't address the other. I mean, she does kind of, but she doesn't really address the other stuff. She's like, turn political. It's always been political. Obviously, what he means is the fact that they're trying to make it, girl power, the force is female. Right. They're changing core elements of the show for modern political reasons. Andor is very political, and everybody likes it. It's not about politics. Yeah. Politics has always been important. He said it was about the Vietnam War. George's politics were timeless. It's a little guy versus big guy. And he said about it was because of like Vietnam. And then she's like, yeah, but the issue is this is heavily inspired by World War II and the rise of the Nazis. Theory let his anger with Luke Skywalker's death show again. It's quite different narrative that runs the Disney story, devoid of character growth. Yeah. Creative writing, training your common sense. And let's not forget pissing on established characters that took decades to build through actual relatable trial and error by killing them off just to spotlight how amazing and better new characters are. That's pretty true. That's spot on. And then he said,
lies detected.
Yeah, no lies detected. When it comes to everything Star Wars 1 through 6 and George Lucas, I know what I'm talking about. And then she's like, clearly not if you think Luke Skywalker's death was out of character on a series based on the Vietnam War and the Nazi Party. Oh, sweetie, you're so stupid it hurts. And then they go on about, if you go down, and she goes on about his content, she goes down and she talks smack about Luke. And stuff like that before. I saw it in here before. I don't know where it was, but she was just like, she just can't stand it. Some people like actually listen to Star Wars Theory and she's pissed about it. She's trying to trigger people deliberately to get attention, to get views, because that's how she gets paid.
She is trying to ride the coattails of YouTubers, and a lot of these media outlets are because they know
neurotic too.
Yeah, she's trying to and not just her, but all these people working for these dying blogs. They're trying to ride the coattails of these YouTubers because they see where the audience has gone to, and they're mad about it because it should be them. They should be the ones. Again, you go to Mary Sue's YouTube channel. I don't even know if they're updating it anymore. I don't even gonna bother checking, but it's sad. Same with Nerdist and all these other like corporate nerd outlets. Oh wait, see, this is even more. She's so full shit. Voices like Theory in the Star Wars space are not helpful and hurt fans who do enjoy the franchise he does not like. There's not that many of you, first of all. Secondly, most people here's the thing. Most people, when they said they didn't like it, got shit. Got threats, got harassed. Yeah. You were allowed to like it, but no one's not allowed to like it. Same coin, different side, Rachel. You guys all participate in the same thing. You do it every time. When no one likes your show, like The Acolyte, you immediately lead with, well, they're a bunch of toxic man, baby, dude, bro, whatever. You're doing everything that you claim everybody's doing to you. But you do it for clicks. But you're doing the exact same damn thing. So you don't get to sit there and pretend like you're morally superior, ethically superior, when you're doing the exact same damn thing. And at the end of it, she's mad because people have complained to her, and she said Theory said he had no control over what his fan base says to people. I know he said that about me and my anger over his fans attacking me. They're attacking you because you don't just say I like this and here's why I like it. No, your articles lead with The Acolyte's like the best thing ever and it's toxic dude, bro. It's a toxic fans, toxic men. That's why they're attacking you, because you're not, if you're just giving your opinion on it and like not invoking other people, not harassing other people, you are allowed to like it. I always say you're allowed to like something, you're allowed to not like something. The problem is when you cross lines and you immediately start belittling, labeling, calling people names, trying to make people who disagree with you small so you appear like you're the superior voice. That's when you have a problem. And you do it all the time at the Mary Sue. You deliberately harass, you deliberately incite, and then you say, they're harassing me. You're a fucking cry bully. But you're doing it because you want clicks. Don't give any clicks to the Mary Sue. Yeah, that's why we're reading it, so you don't have to, because nobody's reading it. I mean, half these articles don't have any comments on them. This Amanda writer, Revenge of the Sith and 4DX is the best thing Star Wars can do to revive interest in a flimsy franchise. Yikes. Well, I think they're at least acknowledging that Star Wars is in a bad place right now. And part of that is because of people like Rachel Leishman. For all her complaining about YouTubers, People like her that double down on attacking fans drove off a lot of the old school fans.
Right. And the thing is, it's like, you better respect that I like it, but you don't respect anybody who disagrees with you. And look, if someone likes something, let's let them like it. Who cares? Unless they're being asked to you. And then, go ahead and tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Not sorry, Mom.
So look, this is a tactic, right? This isn't, I mean,
it's a desperate tactic.
Yeah, it is desperate because they want to roll the clock back to 2017 when the venture capital was flowing and nobody, the normies, a lot of the normies didn't have ad blockers and Facebook still drove traffic and you guys were getting paid really well. I'm looking at these numbers. We talked about Valnet the other day and they own like 75% of the nerd blogs out there and what they're paying or not paying people. And and that thing's going to implode here pretty damn soon. So these sites are getting desperate. I mean, Bloomberg, you got to pay. The AP, they're begging for, rattling the tin cup, begging for, donations. We've got The Verge going behind a paywall. Mm-hmm. We got Vox expanding its membership program. So basically, this is what this reminds me of. Remember when Kickstarter first began back in like 2010, 2011, all these comic book publishers were like, it's just e-begging. If you're a proper comic book publisher, you'll sell your books through shops like a real publisher. And now all these comic book publishers are going to Kickstarter to publish their comics because they're like, oh, shit, that's actually the way to go. But they attacked Kickstarter because it was competition. These journalists are attacking YouTubers because they're competition. These outlets are running with it because it's views. And also, well, we can't let the YouTubers and the ex-users and the podcasters take our biscuit. And then when they find out it works, they're all like, we're going to pivot into podcasting. We're going to pivot into paywalled content.
Because it worked, though. People don't want your stuff for free. They're not going to want it if you paywall it.
No. Oh my God. Okay. So this is Payception. The LA Times. Ad blocker. Support the free press because they're not making enough money right now. Right? So you can't even look at the site unless there are end runs around it. But you know what I'm saying? But then I'm trying to read the article about CNN putting a paywall up on the website. And then here's the LA Times saying, you got to put the ads back on your site because we need ads. These articles with the number of ads that they're putting on. And like we have sites that have ads on, but they're not as intrusive as these sites. I mean, you go to it, like you go to the Daily Mail, it's just all ads with a little strip of news in the middle. And you can't read the news because the ads keep refreshing so they get more page views. It's ridiculous. This is why people are tuning out. But another thing that they're looking at is lawsuits. These websites, these people run at the freaking mouth. We didn't get to talk. I talked about it. You didn't get to talk about it yet, but Bobby Kotick, who's the former CEO of Activision Blizzard, is suing Gizmodo and Kotaku for defamation because they misrepresented, I believe, the details of that the big harassment lawsuit that they had, and they kept running with things that weren't true or proven to be untrue, and they had multiple articles disparaging him and having like alleged insiders saying he said this and he said that or he did this or whatever. So now he's suing him for defamation. That's Geo Media, and they got sued. They own Deadspin. They got sued, and they sold off Deadspin. So they're going to get sued into oblivion. They're going to get people tuning out because of the ad blockers and the constant rattling of the tin cup. And people will pay for news. They're just not paying for your news. Right.
That's what I'm saying. If they're not reading you when it was free and ad supported, what makes you think they're going to go and pay for it now?
Right. That's just it. Like they're not going to. And we are going to see people, again, we're going to have, it's not just YouTubers, but podcasters and journalists on, like Substack and places like that. They're going to replace the Rachel Leichmans, but they're going to talk about this stuff from more of a fan's perspective because nobody's going to pay you to shit on Star Wars fans. Nobody's going to pay you directly. Like, yeah, I'm going to give you $5 or $10 a month to listen to you just like shit on Star Wars fans constantly.
Jokes on her because most people don't even look at the Star Wars stuff anyway.
They don't.
Like she's just trying to use, Star Wars theory as a catalyst to get herself clicks. So she's deliberately shitting on him and fans trying to get herself clicks. But good luck with that, because no one really cares. I only brought it up because I'm just like, you're sitting there trying to be like, oh, poor me, woe with me. He sent his people after me, which he didn't, or whatever you said. Like, oh no, he didn't apologize. He didn't stop them. She didn't say he sent them after her. She said that he didn't do anything about them coming after her. Like, look, you cannot control what people do if they watch your video. I can't control people do when they read your articles. If they want to come harass me after reading your articles, then, let them. I'm sure people are going to go harass, Star Wars Theory. Well, as I said, they wouldn't harass Star Wars Theory if you actually have people who read your article. Yeah. But I'm just like, no one's reading it. It's really a bad topic to try to incite, views from. But that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to invoke bigger names to try to get people to come and defend them or whatever, and then you get clicks.
So these sites shut down. There's a whole bunch of it. This is the whole Valnet, which we did a whole article on Valnet. You can go out and watch that. It had the big show media scandal exposed. It's going to be a massive blow to the space. But all the people working for these websites, like very, 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 very few of them could go out on their own and actually get people to pay for their opinions. Nobody's going to pay Rachel Leishman for her opinions on pop culture. The reason she keeps going back to Star Wars is, one, she got views off it. Two, it might be one of the only things she knows. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people that
clearly doesn't know it well.
Well, she doesn't know it that well, or she'd be agreeing with Star Wars Theory, who is I believe, the single largest Star Wars fan channel out there. And there's a reason
why
for that.
She's using it.
Right.
Using his comments to make an article to try to learn him, because it's basically somebody who, somebody lives with a way high up building and they're busy and they don't pay attention to somebody, and some little pissy ant that they're never going to hear. It's like, that's right. Come at me kind of situation. And it's like, nobody cares.
Oh, that happened with our neighbor the one time.
Oh, it did. Well, that was funny.
Yeah, we had a neighbor, and he, like, I get along, this is the old house, but I get along fine with him now. Like, because I have a limited limited interactions with him. But yeah, he kept parking because we had it
wasn't him, it was his girlfriend.
It was his girlfriend.
We
had a situation where the way the parking was arranged, that, like, if anybody parked in the driveway, it blocked both parking spaces off.
The driveway we own.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue. But so I asked him like 3 or 4 times. I said, hey, could you just, make sure I can get into my own house after work? That's all I'm asking. I wasn't being a dick about it. I thought it was then I got fed up the one day. I was home late and I'm like, I can't get into my own house after work. Like, I'm tired. I can't get into my own house. So I said, hey, dude, I knocked on the door. I said, hey, could you move the car so I could at least get my car? I had to walk through my yard to knock on the door. And he just like flipped out and said, you want to fight about it? You want to fight about it? You want to fight? And he comes at me, and he's not a very big guy. He's not a very big guy. He's like thumping his chest. He was shirtless. He's like thumping his chest, like, come at me, bro. Come at me. I'm like, and I did. And then
you took a step. You took a step.
I took a step. I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, if we're going to do this, I'm like a foot taller than you, but okay. Then Geeky, the back door just like explodes. I swear to God, like, it comes off the hinges. Fire comes out of the kitchen. And she's like, oh, hell no.
It happened.
And he's just like,
he started calling me a bitch, and then you're like, oh, hell no. It didn't go to punches, but he was like asking for it. Back down real quick when he realized that Kneon wasn't going to like walk away from it. Anyway,
I've been in a lot of fights. But I try to de-escalate before. It's like, okay. I mean, if you want,
it was
you want to do it.
Here. Well, you haven't been in a fight since you've been an adult.
No, but I'm like, I'm old, but I still remember.
It's neither here nor there, but that's what it reminds me of. Like one of those ones like they see in videos where like, hold me back, and then no one's standing there to hold him back, and they're like moving their shoulders.
Yeah, he did. He kept like thumping his chest, but he kept taking a step back. But that's what this is.
Just him. I mean, like Rachel Leishman. It's like,
oh, that's the same thing.
Kind of situation. It's like you literally just invoked his name to get yourself views.
Yeah.
Pissed on him, pissed on Star Wars because you're trying to get views. And then you'll scream when people come at you and tell you you're full of shit. His people are attacking me and harassing me. It's like, well, what did you think was going to happen? You knew it was going to happen. You did it anyway because you're desperate for attention.
Yeah, she did that with Gary from Nerd Rocks, tried to call him out.
Oh, yeah, with Doctor Who?
Didn't know anything about Doctor Who. The guy's got like this massive collection of Doctor Who stuff. He owned a comic shop. People try to say he doesn't know anything about comics. The guy owned a comic shop in San Francisco.
Oh, well, they keep saying we don't know anything about comics or animation or any of that stuff. We worked around that stuff. You don't know anything about Disney? I'm like, bitch, really?
Bitch, Disney paid our bills for years. Yeah, so it's just like, Yeah, they're just looking for a crumb, and that's it. And they can't stand it. They cannot stand it. The reason they go so hard after YouTubers and podcasters and the alt-right chuds on X or whatever is because they have an audience, and their audience pays them directly.
And they don't have one, and they're desperate to stay in business.
Yes. And that's exactly it. And there are going to be so many unemployed journalists after this year, especially. I think things are just going to just completely implode.
Especially with Google going the way they're going. And we've been telling you guys this was going to happen. Now other sites are coming out and saying what we've been telling you.
Mm-hmm. So there we go, guys. So this is going to end because I think these sites are going to get shut down pretty damn soon. Mary Sue, I am shocked they are still in business. I am just absolutely shocked, but I don't think they will be for much longer. I mean, 2 comments, that was the most they got on anything.
What were the comments? What were the comments?
Let me see here. Let's see. This person, Alex, says, I'd take the equal and opposite view that these man babies are not exactly wrong, that classic Star Wars wasn't terribly political, but would add that remains so today. Okay, and this person, Nina, says, it's wild how people like this argue Star Wars under Lucas was never political and one of the biggest critics.
Okay.
He didn't say it was never
He had a bunch of stuff that was completely right.
Yes.
And they take the one thing they think he's wrong about, and that's what she runs with because it was always political. He didn't say it was never political. I think what he's referring to is you have taken, political things that were going on and turned it into a, girl power, situation and identity politics. And that's what he's referring to. And I think that's pretty obviously what he's referring to.
Yeah.
So he's not wrong.
I mean, he even talked about with the prequels, especially. He said that he didn't do the prequels first because he thought they were too political and too boring, but he mirrored it after the fall of Rome. And even the Trade Federation dude, the lead dude is Newt Gunray, which is supposed to be like Newt Gingrich, which at the time, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, there was a lot of, it's clear where Lucas is an old school liberal, right? That's my impression of him. He's a from the hippie generation. He's an old school liberal, but I don't think he's on board with the direction that current Lucasfilm took things in.
And taking the one thing he said about politics, but completely disregarding everything else he said that was correct.
Yeah.
It was like, please, come on, really, and everything else he said wasn't untrue. And it's proof is in the pudding because the stuff isn't doing well now, and it hasn't been doing well. Last Jedi pretty much destroyed everything, and except for Mandalorian, which had a little bit of a blip. It's kind of gone off the deep end too. I don't know if the movie's going to do well. I have no idea. We'll see. I have to see it, the preview first. But she took things out of context or deliberately went with one thing, and that's what they're running with because she doesn't have an argument. She's literally just using it because he said it to try to get clicks on her blog.
Yep. And it's over. 2017's over. It's been over. It's very, very over now. So, RIP, Mary Sue, you're going to be shut down soon. I can almost guarantee it.
She's like waving a red flag in front of a bull, and then when she gets gored, she's going to scream about it.
Yeah, but she has to do something because there's no views. There's no traffic.
She's assuming the bull's going to even, see the red thing and come at her. But it's ridiculous. She's just desperately trying to get attention. There is no traffic. So that's what these blogs are doing. And if they're not doing that, they're putting it behind a paywall.
Yep.
And sometimes they're doing both. So
sometimes they're doing both. Whacking the beehive and then making you pay to read the
whack the beehive because you'll pay me to see what I said. And it's like, but
that's exactly what they do. They'll let the first paragraph up and they'll be like, I'm saying something really spicy. And if you give me $5, you can see my spicy hot take. I'm like, I don't know. Other people give spicy hot takes out for free every day on X.
And on YouTube. So
right? So good luck with that. Are we going to wrap it up? Let's wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.